Hi, my name is Kate. I'm 14. Have you ever sacrificed your health because of your own fear? Personally, I'm not afraid of heights, spiders, rats, and the dark. The only thing that really scares me is dentists. 3 years ago, I was at an appointment, and I was so scared that I vowed never to go to the dentist again. Watch this video to the end and find out how my fear of dentists worked out for me. I just love candy, chips, soda, and chewing gum. I know that they're harmful, but I cannot resist, and I often forget to brush my teeth. I must have been overindulging in my sweets that day. During the lesson, I felt that my tooth was beginning to hurt. I often have a toothache. This is all because of cavities and my love of junk food. My mother says that by the time I'm 20, all my teeth will fall out and I'll look like an old woman. I was hoping that the pain would subside as usual in a couple of hours, but this time the tooth decided to take revenge on me for the mountains of chips and liters of sweet soda. When I got home, the pain was even worse. I refused dinner and sat in my room all night. My mother asked me if I was all right. I had to lie and say that everything was fine. I didn't like to lie to my mother, but if she found out that I had a toothache, she would immediately drag me to the clinic, and this was the worst thing in the world. Do you often have to lie to your parents? During the night, the pain became completely unbearable. I was ready to bite my pillow to keep from screaming at the whole house. Of course, there was no question of sleeping. Good thing I remembered the pills. I would take a painkiller and would be fine. Trying not to make any noise, I went to the kitchen. Here was the first aid kit. I would finally feel better, but so busy looking for a cure that I didn't hear my mother's footsteps. Oh no, she would guess now. It was good I hit upon the idea of saying that I just decided to drink water. Mom left, and I took the entire package of painkillers with me and went back to my room. I went to bed and tried to sleep because I didn't have to feel this terrible pain in my sleep. The pills didn't work. In desperation, I drank 2 more, although in the instructions it was stated that excessive dosage may start a spasm in the stomach. I didn't care what happened to my stomach as long as my teeth stopped hurting. I didn't sleep until the morning. I felt like my brain was just being drilled through. At school, I didn't think straight. My cheeks started to twitch. The pain became even sharper and stronger. My eyes were so terribly dark that I thought I was going to faint. I was running a temperature and my stomach ached from the medication. After class, I asked my friend Mary to walk me home. The shortcut seemed like a marathon. My friend immediately noticed that something was wrong with me. I complained to my friend about the pain. Mary told me to go to the dentist right away rather than eat too much anesthetic. What a great advice. I'd rather be in pain forever and eat nothing but pills than sit in a dentist's chair. Mary walked me all the way to the door. We said goodbye. My vision was so blurry that I couldn't get the key in the lock until the 5th time. My mother must have guessed something, although I again refused to eat and quickly slipped into my room, trying not to turn my sore cheek to my mother. I spent the entire evening trying to distract myself from the pain. Drawing, texting with a friend, watching movies, even doing my algebra homework, but nothing helped. How do you deal with pain? I had a chemistry project to prepare for, but I couldn't think of anything but my tooth. The exam I'd been dreading a week ago now seemed like nothing. My thoughts were racing. I couldn't concentrate. My gums were twitching unbearably, and my cheek was terribly hot and throbbing. I took the pills again, and the pain subsided, only to torment again. I threw myself on the bed and buried my face in the pillow. I didn't know what to do. I just lay there and cried quietly so my mother wouldn't hear. I needed to stop the hysteria. Tears couldn't cure a tooth. Barely opening my eyes from the explosive pain in my head, I got on the internet and started looking for a way to cure the tooth on my own. I was afraid of injections and I didn't know how to do them. Compresses would be difficult, but rinsing would be just right. Now I just had to run to the pharmacy and everything would be fine. I didn't dare to go at night. My mother was a very light sleeper. She would definitely wake up and catch me, which meant that I would not escape the dentist. I would have to wait until the morning. I didn't sleep a wink before dawn, but I did figure out a way to trick my mother. I pretended that I was going to school, but I went around the parcel and hid in the backyard, waiting for my mother to leave for work. I was afraid to go straight to the pharmacy. There was nothing worse than meeting my mother on the way back. 5 minutes seemed like an eternity. At last she was gone. The way was open. I quickly ran to the pharmacy for the solution and returned home like a bullet. Yes, the solution was not cheap. For this money, I could have bought 2 kilos of my favorite sweets. Although, I guess I was done with the sweet stuff. Would you be able to give up your favorite food for health? I prepared the solution according to the instruction, thoroughly rinsed my teeth every 3 hours, but there was no effect. My cheek was swollen like popcorn, and I was beginning to think that something was moving under my tooth, as if some nasty worm had taken up residence in the gum and was gnawing at it. I felt insanely lousy, and besides, I had a fever. In the evening, my mother came to my room. I was just about to take my pills, and I managed to hide them under my pillow. My mother asked me if I was all right. I nodded in response. It was a good thing her phone rang and she went into the kitchen. After all, I couldn't talk anymore. It was too painful. My tongue was constantly probing the sore tooth. It seemed to me that something was oozing out of it. My mother was already dozing in her room, so there was nothing to stop me from going down to the bathroom and looking at my long-suffering tooth. Oh no! What was it? Above the tooth was a huge abscess. It wasn't here last night. When I got back to my room, I couldn't sleep. I was terribly disgusted to realize that I had some kind of purulent muck in my mouth. I would never eat the damn candy again. I went online to read about abscesses. I wish I hadn't. It turned out that pus from the inflamed gums could get inside the jaw and then into the brain and cause a terrible infection that led to death. I was terrified. I didn't know if it was true, but it sounded very creepy. Of course, only a doctor could answer all my questions, but I never went to the clinic. Apparently, I only had one chance to get rid of the pain. I crept back into the bathroom. The fever and pain made me dizzy. Only now did I feel that I hadn't really eaten for 3 days. My stomach growled with hunger so loudly that it almost woke my mother. That's all. It was now or never. It was very scary, but I was more afraid of the dentist. Taking aim, I quickly stuck the needle into the hated abscess. I guess I overdid it out of fear. The pain was so bad that I forgot everything and screamed at the whole house. I felt dizzy and my mouth tasted blood and something else very unpleasant. My vision suddenly darkened. The last thing I saw was my mother's confused face as she opened the door. I woke up in the clinic and almost died of fright. I was sitting in the dentist's chair. A nurse leaned over me and asked if the anesthetic had worked. Only now did I realize that the tooth did not hurt, and I was ready to kiss the girl from joy. The next 2 hours were not the most pleasant of my life, but I was willing to put up with anything to forget about that tooth forever. By the way, it was not painful or scary, but rather a shame that I was afraid as a little girl and ate candy for years instead of watching my health. The doctor said that in no case should I pierce abscesses myself. I was very lucky that my mother heard me and took me to the clinic in time. Otherwise, nothing good could come out of my irresponsibility. Now I will pay more attention to my health and visit the dentist more often. After all, if I didn't leave it to the last, then sleepless nights and nightmarish pain could have been avoided. And my mother was very scared for me. If you like my story, then put a like, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with your friends. Stay healthy and seek medical help on time.